What's up, everyone? This is Yona, and welcome to your Kuromatoki's Interactive Podcast Part 3.0. Oh, haha, you missed me, right? I miss you guys too. And it's been a quite long one since our last episode 2 months ago. I missed it so much, and again, welcome back. Should I say, welcome to the newest season of your Kuromatoki's Interactive Podcast. With yours truly, Yona in the house. I miss you guys so much, and well, it's been a quite long while since. I can't remember, but it's nice to see you guys once again on the pod, and I hope you guys are okay and still fighting the inner demons within you and the outer ones, I believe. But before we're gonna moving on to our newest topic, which is gonna be lots of fails later on, unfortunately. So why do we have some rambles and yeah. Okay, so we're gonna start with the nuts for the past 2 months, where we will start, of course, Otaku Expo Tanaba Festival. And like who can be more celebratory than in Yona Day, which is a Filipino holiday to commemorate the heroism of Ninoy Aquino. And what's more festive, it's also Cher Fontaine's birthday. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting connection. And as I cosplay in Kuromashiri, and I sang the former's character song in another karaoke contest, anime song karaoke contest. I'm sorry. So it's quite after some soft it requires another soft piece, and it's an influence, and this is what technically the second page shoot for 2 years. No, almost 2 years, and a lot of stuff happened, but those are the biggest fullest highlights from that con. And secondly was the Bataan Anime Convention. This is my second time to attending outside the metro, and this is also the second out of our second anime out of the metro con. So I was cosplaying Yuri Naruse, who made a comeback as well, and we actually doing our first domestic Your Kuromatoki's Interactive Podcast live panel. So this is actually the first time we go outside the metro, but technically this is our second panel, or rather live panel. And the thing is, unfortunately, because of the time constraints, we didn't able to handle the quiz beat. But the good thing is we're already chatting some of the casual con-goers from that province, and I'm so happy to meet them. And one of them was surprisingly, of course, to my surprise, is a legit VTuber. And I was wondering, I was in the process of my veins kinda, not responding. I'm so sorry, but you know me, it's more on the complicated and more of the very kind of complicated stuff that at least I can actually getting an idea about it. So I'm not quite a fan of them, unfortunately. And what we did is we get answer all these the questions that I'm some questions that I'm gonna prepare for them. And what do you think about the first con and everything? And what would be your first cosplay? So it was basically the things that we get to see in the next live panel. So yeah, you should guys look forward to that, to the next panel. And I very thankful to the organizers for having me and giving an invitation to them and to to that con. And I'm pretty happy that it was so warming. It's a really, the atmosphere is so very warming, and it feels like a first time. I mean, it feels like the first time I've been in a con, something like for 15 years or so, almost 15 years. And the feeling of the joy of these guys was so undeniably and unconditionally massive. It's I'm pretty. It's a. I know it's a new thing to me, but today I have to admit that Bacon was one of those dream cons, those the dream provision cons that I would want to attend, and now did. I did just that. I made that dream come true, and I will definitely going back next year. I swear. No promise. Not. I'm not gonna make any promises, but I swear I'm gonna attend it again next year. So yeah, and I'm pretty happy to see one of those staff ways, basically a Ruvian. And well, we are gonna talking about it later on. So yeah, and what could be? Oh yeah, I almost forgot that Aisan Shantia, which is the the version of the Tropical Root Precures. And why is it? Because it's very timely for the Delicious Party movie, which is the movie that came after. So this is like, okay, here's what I'm gonna I'm gonna sing the insert, the theme, of the season that came before. Right, so it's very timely it is, and yeah, I tried my best. I tried my best, but this is the first time that I sang a precure song outside the metro, and yeah, one of these days I might gonna do it again in the future. Who knows? But yeah, I'm so happy that they're all awesome for me. For overall, it's so cool, and I said. Who cares about the transport expenses? Who cares about the constraints? As you regaining the risk, I take the risk, at least in a safetiest way, and yeah, you get to go risk, and which is why we are promoting provision cons. So I'm totally I'm pretty exhausted. It's very tiring of it, but provision cause is kind of the same different episode compared to the metro cons. Okay, so yeah, if you know what I mean. Don't like I said, don't stick to one. Better get out of your comfort zone and touch some grass. Okay, you better touch some grass, guys. Come on, I know it's you guys are uh, thinking twice or not bothered, but not really bothered, but hesitate to go there. But you really should. Just look at my friends. I mean, some of my friends are also attending cons on the Visayas region. Some of my friends are went to the Bicol region, and myself had already has had attended two provision codes already in a span of 1 year. I mean, no kidding. And ever since that freaking hella Corona Chan fiasco came out 3 years ago, it's just a wonderful thing. You guys should do that, okay? You better get out of your comfort zone, touch some grass, and take the risk. I know it's very risky to our safety, but it is already included, guys. Um, we better risk safely, all right? And lastly, we got cosplay Mia, so it's a nice comeback as well. And what? Who could that be? I mean, who could we thought that you make it a perfect timing to a freaking hell sayonara fest. So I was cosplaying as the 13th Doctor in and it was nice to know that everybody recognized some of them. A few or so recognizing 13, and is a wonderful, kind of tribute to my first Doctor. No joking. Yeah, I'm nice for being the first Doctor. My first Doctor ever that you digging all the digging the grieving the freaking Doctor Who hole 4 years ago, and it was nice to have it ever recognized about 13 and everything. It was a wonderful joy. And you can see the encounters. Yes, the encounters out there as already posted in my socials. And it's a wonderful thing, especially calming. Shout out to all the calming cosplayers out there. You guys rock. You guys are so awesome, guys. And finally we gotta get one of these contact fan artists. Which is Kate. Boss, I gave a big shout out to you. Shout out to Boss Sky. Sky, I suppose, yeah, he's a wonderful person, and got to try to meet him in person. He was so good. All right, and I really thought it was a good thing. So by the way, by the way, I'm going to plug in some stuff here. By the way, guys, there's a Doctor podcast. Oh gosh, I can't forget the name of the podcast. So there were having a charity project with Action Project UK. So it's a charity organization that helps less fortunate people in dire situations. I literally forgot the podcast name, so I want to sign up you guys because I can't remember my brain got messed up every time. So I'm so sorry. But that podcast, so yeah, I'm already sending on my shout outs to you. And I heard that your charity fundraising was a huge success. At least having reached out the minimal expectations, and we can tell at least this is something to look very proud of, and very proud of to save so many people and help them to help it out to help, and at least they wanted to save lives as well. So this is our commitment to help people, the less fortunate people who are not experiencing the proper decency and enjoyment that we already have now, and still does today, even though we're already still in a turbulent and very darky situation though, but still, um, we have to deal with the darkness and shoulder them by giving back to those who are really in need without um, any bad things in return, if you know what I mean. But still, I'm pretty sure these guys are I'm sure I hope these guys are gonna listen to our podcast. And, I think they're also podcasters themselves, and you can tell. And surely, in a quite for in the wow in a quite some time, you can tell how many people that are really helped by those people, or by donations, and with sheer willpower alone. And you can see this is how proper resiliency looks like. The, being accountable, being helping by somebody, celebrate them, and um, totally and really helping them while handling accountability. This is what proper real resiliency looks like. So yeah, and actually here in Whitecap, we are so committed to that. So currently, we're going international as well through our cosplay lion project. So this is our flagship charity project. So it's been going on since 2014, and it still does today, even the time that we're stuck in a lockdown, and since we're quietly relaxed up, and all of we already quietly relaxed, and pushing out the in-ground donations now. So we are very committed to support those people, those charity organizations, and those people that are that are not not backing up by some people or some evil organization. Some evil organization, sorry. But yeah, and I'm pretty happy to see how the proper charity looks like. So we're helping out lots of stuff. Those who are affected by calamities, and then those who are sick-ridden people, and those who are those less fortunate people. We already did that, and the thing is, so currently we were hold on a sec. I'm gonna open up my phone first, and we were setting up something while we are waiting for our let's just say yeah, let's just see. Hold on a second. I'm sorry, my memory, my brain is really messed up. I'm so sorry, but you can tell me about it. So currently, uh, we were doing a fan project, or a Satan side project, apparently for Mandip Gill. Yeah, wow. With Satan side project this time. So this time, uh, for a another amazing companion, amazing person played in, and another amazing companion from Doctor who is also one of the longest serving in the show. So and basically the longest in the its new series. So it's pretty obvious to say. So what can we expect? So right now we are in collaboration with Satan Side Project. It's with the Alicia Bobright Foundation. So basically, the lost her. So it's the name after her cousin, who passed away almost 10 years ago. So, uh, but of course, to those, why is this Freaky Hannah Foundation? So it's basically the organization that that is intended to help kids, right? By affecting by like limiting illnesses such as cancer. So I gotta say, sometimes you have extra funds, you can donate to them. You can donate to the Alicia Bopper Foundation and help to save a kid's life, at least extending his life, of their life, from those life limiting illnesses. All right, so this is our. So we got some video with a video and stuff, and the the deadline would be, yeah, yep, yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to yeah, it's a nice thing, a nice touch to it sounded really close to everyone. So if you have that time, you please do so. If you're gonna cosplay as yes, please then do so, please. Or lip singing, and of course, if you have some artwork, particularly Tasman or yes, please do so. Please send it. Please share, and video edits and video messages. Please do so. Please do it, because the deadline will be on. So I'm gonna use our time zone. It's December 2. So December 2. So yeah, you guys still have time for that, and I'm pretty sure that yeah, you get say Satan say a wonderful Satan say for for Mandip, and of course a very wonderful send off after her time in Who, and I get the feeling about this, and get the feeling I'm kind of uh, it's just being a process of a post regen moment, in real time. It's so hard, and but as Ryan Sinclair said, that things have changed every time, and that is should. And what 13 has said, that new can be scary. Of course, new can be scary. Well, keep on the most incredible change, and we can still honor about who they are as people. If you know what I mean. And I do like it, and that's the coolest thing about the show, about Doctor Who. And it's so hard. It's kind of it's really really different compared to let's say the previous series, because I am getting used to farewells. I mean the sayonara fests in that show, and I've been through that for the past 11 years. Pre-care teams and main mascot fairies can when come and go, but not doing so without an emotional send off in their season finale episode. And it's always like that. It really always does. And departing, it's very very hard to process. But it's kind of say it's like every year, it's it was on the cycle. It always cycles like, okay, new season has been dropped, so we're gonna doing a furry feels fest and a sayonara fest for the outgoing fairy care team, the outgoing season. Yeah, something like it. It always does in the show, and it always does. I already does that. my god. Another season has ended, my goodness. How can I process still like that? You know, it's always like that. How can I process about this after this? I cannot get over. I mean, it's always sad, you know, it's kind of bittersweet. But Doctor Who, oh my god, it's a new experience. Even though I have seen visions of some, and I'm not gonna. This was the first time that I'm gonna see this in real time, and I now I get the feeling. I get the freaky hella feeling about what a post region moment looks like, and I already feel it. Like, not right now, but for hours and hours thinking about it all the time. I'm not sure I'm still processing. I'm still processing all the time. But what matters to me is, okay, I'm gonna do this. I think it's gonna be a new. It's gonna be another new experience to me. And you know, I get the feeling. Everybody has the feeling, and everybody has the same feeling as mine when we get that for the first time. It always does, and it's pretty hard to let go. And it's okay, and it's really okay. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to yeah, I know it's okay to be to grieve, it's okay to be, it's valid, guys. It's valid. It does. It's like losing a one reliable mate. Ang hirap. Napakahirap. Ay, oh my god, I'm speaking Filipino, but yeah, napakahirap talaga. And it feels surreal. I don't know how to put any words. But this was supposed, honestly, this is supposed to be a festive season premiere, but wow, the feels fest. Why can't I hold all of these feels and there'll be soft hours later? Some soft hours. Oh my god, not again. Am I gonna do it? I might gonna do it again like what I did last season. I mean, particularly the season finale of this show. No joke. It's gonna be full of feels, guys. Feels fest. So so up there, so later. Oh wow. So we're about to introduce our our first guest for part 3.0, and I think she is ready. Sure, was about to send it out, and of course you set up some her stuff for the podcast, and yeah, we're all excited to meet her, and we're gonna talk it. Okay, so I'm not gonna spoil. You guys we're gonna have it doing a fiesta for 13, a fiesta for the first female doctor, which is Jodie Whittaker, and we're gonna talking about our impressions and commentary about the power of the doctor, as well as our favorite moments in from her era, and then your 5 things you'll miss about Jodie's era in the show. So yeah, please stay tuned. So we'll more this later, and I think she's about to get she's about to ready, and we're gonna doing a chica with our next guest. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and yeah, Jordan Fluid people, let's now welcome our first guest for the new season of Your Kuromatoki's Interactive Podcast, Ladies and gentlemen and German fluid people, Lady Crab Dog! Woo! Welcome to Kuromatoki's interactive podcast, Lay.
Hi.
Oh my god! How are you doing?
I'm pretty good, thank you very much.
How are you doing? Is it great?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so I have a question for you before we are gonna moving on to our the Power Doctor commentary and impressions. So, how do you get into Doctor Who?
It was around 2006, and there were trailers on TV on BBC One, and then I think there was a magazine when I was sitting at somewhere else, and then I watched the episode, watched season 2, went back to A Christmas Invasion, and been a fan ever since.
Yeah? So, what is your first season of? What is your first season that got you hooked into the show or series if you count in the modern era?
It was season 2. It was David Tennant and Billy Piper at New Earth, and it was probably one of the episodes that I still remember seeing on the trailer with Novice Haim, Maitland Cass doing the cat his thing, and there's always something about that episode that when I go back to it, that's how I started my show, and yeah. And then the rest of the series was really good. And once I look back at it, I really think that it's a really good series to begin. And it's got so many good stories like The Impossible Planet and The Same Pit, which was one of my favourite stories of that series. I guess it was just, I'm a person who loves Based Under Siege, and it just worked. And then Catherine Tate appearing at the end, it was really good.
Okay. So do you have a favorite story from the show? In every era, even in every era of the show, do you have your favorite companion, related from a classic or in the new series? Who is your favorite classic companion?
I don't know. It's more like I go back and I remember Barbara Wright and Ian Chesterton because I own a few of their episodes at home, and I just love the fact that they felt real. They were brought into this, and their story is so great. For example, I think The Age of Destruction, for me, I mean, is one of those stories that can either go one way or the other, and it just puts an aspect that they don't want to necessarily be there, and it really just shows that they are very important to the Doctor's story, especially at the end, and that's what makes them stand out for me.
Yeah, that's fair. And of course, do you have her merchandise in your possession?
I think I have.
Just gotta share us to everybody. Come on. And I'm very curious. What merch do you collect?
I collect quite. I now collect Star Wars merch, but I also still collect Doctor Who.
Yeah, nice. I always want to have a Star Wars merchandise, but I'm very tempted to. But hey, I might get some. I might get some in the future. But anyway, speaking of merchandise, do you have? I heard you have some action figures, books, and some DVDs, particularly from the classic series.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Oh, I see. So what DVD is it? What DVDs are they?
I have the first 3 episodes, and then it's just a mix of all classic because I haven't really collected them all, but there's quite a few. and then I've got the complete first series, and that's up to date with until I get the Power of the Doctor, probably at the end of the year. And I also have the Sarah Jane Adventures series, all five series of them.
Sound nice. Very nice sharing of your merger. Anyway, so yeah. Yeah. So I have a question for you since we are just celebrating Jory Whittaker's legacy in the show. So what was your reaction when Jodie got revealed during that uh, Wimbledon men's final back in 2017? What was your
Well,
reaction about that?
I guess I was spoiled before, but I just when it was confirmed, then they actually properly confirmed it. It really is something that I was going to be represented by a female. And looking back now, it's just surreal, the fact that Dottie did do it. They cast a female, and it's gonna and her legacy from then to now is gonna be just amazing for her.
Mm-hmm. I feel the same thing as you. So when I'm first stumbling into the film, I actually don't know about it. I really don't know about it until when when Jodie became the doctor. I was like, okay, this is something quite interesting. I have to admit, this is something new to me, but I think I heard it's a really interesting show. So okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show about its history. I gotta do it. Watch a thought about the show itself, particularly the new series, and uh, and then I went when of course the trailers for Joy's first season came. I was like, I'm very excited. I was so excited. I was like a kid who is excited about a new toy coming out, but the feel, the joy of having a new era in a very iconic show like Doctor Who. It was something. It may be new to me, but but pretty excited. And I know you felt the same way when all this stuff leading to Joy's first season came out. I'm sure sure you get the same feeling as everyone else's.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching it was quite a bit of a rocky road back then, but I think once I saw that second trailer, I was kind of ready for it. And I remember looking at it now where she introduces her friends, and oh no, that was the wrong one. The one with Glorious on it. It really showed how much I was going to look forward to it, and it was just a great trailer to watch. And before that, the show I started with all those years ago was in safe hands.
Yeah, I know. I get the feel. But the one thing that comes into mind, the background music is so familiar to me. "Glorious" by Macklemore was such a wonderful fitting to open Jodie's era in the show. It
Yeah.
was wonderful. It was stuck instead. It was still on my brain rent free. Anyway, yeah, I get the feelings. I feel welcomed, and everybody's my reaction to everybody welcome me to the fan community was like, okay, I know there are some nasty ones, but there are so many not necessarily the nasties and not the non nasty ones, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna focusing on the non nasty ones instead.
Yeah.
Being such a tough. It's kind of tough to be through, and I think new fans are gonna be like, right, But on top of that, there are having but overall they really welcome me like a family, and this is something important in in Joy's era in the show. It's all about the family, the acceptance, the unconditional, no matter what we are as people or in any circumstance, but for as long as it's something groundbreaking that nobody has ever attempted before with
Yeah,
such a in more than 50 years and has been since it first aired, and it was something like it was a huge gamble, just like some of the eras that came before. For instance, let's just say the era of Christopher Eccleston, because we all know that it's a huge gamble because they want to go back to those rules or everything, or even the Matt Smith, even Matt Smith's era is also a huge gamble because we all know that Matt wasn't a Whovian before, but now he actually has and still has that energy to passionate talking about the show even after his tenured and ended,
yeah,
and even Peter Capaldi. I know, Peter was such an amazing actor,
yeah,
and his love for the show was constantly should we say more on more on a get go. But he really dedicates that for the show, and I'm sure David Tennant as well. He's also a fan, and I do admire his dedication for the
yeah,
show,
yeah,
and I really admire the way he is. He's just him, and he's such a dedicated person. He's a I think he's a very nice person. He's one of the most one of the most one of the very amazing people this planet has ever seen. He's such an very he's also iconic. He's maybe popular, but he retains his down to earth uh, aura, and still he still does. I suppose. And okay. So speaking of that, your thoughts about okay, how okay, I'm not gonna say so. What about Mandip Gill? What was your reaction when, of course, when Mandip, Bradley Walsh, and Tosin Cole already revealed as the new companions?
Well, it was quite exciting at around because it was around the time I started blogging, so it was probably one of the first two blogs I ever did, and I was talking about them and Shandy Clark, and they really, looking back now, once again, I feel like they were great casted, and they've really grown, and I think that's the thing with this era. It's all about growth and as you said, acceptance, and that's what for me makes this era tick. It has something amazing, and when I look back at being excited that there was going to be a 4 team, it really felt amazing because, and also at the time I was kind of into the old classics like William Hartnell and Paddock Tran, and it just felt like this was because I heard rumors of it before on Bradley Walsh, but when they confirmed, I was like, yes, it just felt like more family, and it just really, it just this era just brings a lot of joy, and I think looking back now, I'm just so glad they were Casa, and I'm just so happy that they've been in the show and made this era possible.
Hmm. I think that Christian was trying to going back to the roots where it all began back during the classic, and it was very nice and really refreshing stuff after uh a few lots of years of having companions being some sort of a superpower thing. But I think it's a good thing that I might say the closest that we get was, yeah, Martha Jones. I know, I love Martha Jones,
Yeah.
and I know she has such a capable companion, and I think this is she was the only one of those few companions that aren't like, Deus Ex Machina kind of stuff of companions in the new series. But yeah, Martha was so different. I mean, she can do anything. She has a very equal to the Doctor themselves, and oh my God, it's kind of make me kind of bothered that she already written out in the story. It was like, um, I would want more Martha, and yeah, it was very unfortunate. And the good thing was she didn't die after all, and instead joining Torchwood, and
Yeah.
it's a good thing. I mean the concept is good, but with the fam, it really this is something I totally connected, and being somebody, being them, being the first set of companions that I've been seeing in real time. It was again, it was a new thing to me, but they really captured the classic companions. They're already echoing some of the classic companions that aren't like, I said, they use Ex Machina thingy, but instead they are just people who are facing the ordinary people taken out with the extraordinary stuff. Aliens, lots of unexplained things. They really facing out everything. And I even yes, of course, I totally love yes because as a native Asian, I can not only I already some sort of not only I finally have a representation in the form of yes, but also I can I already found somebody that I can look up to as well, and somebody that I can relate it to, particularly how to facing bullying, how to dealing with mental health properly, and and need somebody that is that being acceptable, being loved, and somebody that can count on. And yeah, but yeah, before she was totally alone, but thanks thanks to 13, and she met Graham, Ryan, and of course later on Dan, and lots of people, and lots of creatures that she's seen, and she already encountered so many adversities the Doctor has faced.
Yeah.
And I can feel it every single time when I'm watching. I'm totally enjoying watching Yes, and I really enjoyed watching Mandip. It really touches the smile to my face. And I can empathize on what she has been through.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So what do I miss? Oh yes. Do you have any what are your favorite moments from Jodie's era? I'm very curious. Can you? I think
Yeah.
there are a lot because there are. I'm sure there are a lot.
Yeah. I have a few. I think one of my favorites was from the second episode where she finds the TARDIS, and I just always love when she just wants it to come to her, and it does. And when she says, "My beautiful ghost moment," I personally feel like that's how you do a scene and how you introduce the TARDIS. And there's quite a few. I'd say I know from the moment when they became the firm in Iraq of the UK, obviously the survival scene where they come in black tie and walking down. What else? There is also, but I think the more recent favorite moments have to be. It has to be from the recent, I'd say, recent 5 episodes to us, because I know there's by fan that it kind of makes me cry sometimes, the music, because it's just because I just relate to them so much. But the last 5 episodes have had at least that standout scene, and most of them for me, I just can't stop crying. It just resonates with me, and it just makes it come out like like a few days ago. I watched I watched that scene where they come out where Yaz and the doctor are on their own, and Yaz starts to get emotional over the doctor's situation, and that scene just moves me along because I just feel for him. I mean, like I haven't really felt like that before, and I just was like, I'm there for you, Yaz. I know what you're going through, and it really just shows that the perfect writing was put there, and there's just and the way they kind of both shed a tear, it just allows me to feel like I get you, and it makes it more beautiful and more just it's just everything about this era. I don't know what it does, but this era definitely brings out a more emotional side to me, and I think that's down to the fact of how I relate to all these characters, and they just make me feel like it's my era. So yeah, I do have a lot of scenes. Yeah, so every scene, I think, for me, just it just allows the shows to be like, because what really stands out for me as, and I think you'll probably say the same, is it's down to the diversity and the representation, and that could easily make the difference between you loving a character or anything else. So that's what makes these scenes a lot stand out, and I think like there's a like I said, Legends of Sea Devils personally for me has a lot of those scenes, and I have watched quite a few of the same scenes I've loved recently, and it just makes me realize that this era is never gonna be gone from me. Like 13 said back in episode 1, like even though gone from the world, they're never gone from me, and I think that's kind of what makes me think I'm gonna be okay, and what I can move on knowing what what's gonna happen.
Technical difficulties. So, okay, we are going back to where I lost. So, where am I? So, yeah. So, what about Sasha Della as the master? What do you think about him?
I just think he's amazing. I mean, I like he watching Lost a few nights ago. I just felt he was at his best. He just felt like the master. He's always been the master, but I felt last night was that's the master, and he just inspires. He just everything he does, like even if he's just playing a character, or it's just if it's just the master, Sasha will be like he'll just put on the performance of his life. And I think one of the best things was when he attempted to be the Doctor himself, because that was, I mean, he's in the past the TV movie. There was a plot to steal his regeneration, so so it was
Oh my
interesting.
God! Yeah.
Yeah, and
I know. Yeah, I know. This isn't the first time that the master had regenerated because we already did. We have seen that before with Sir Derek Jacobi regenerated to Johnson. But this is roughly the first time that the master. Yeah, I really call it a TV movie. If I which I already watched, which I watched that year a few years ago. That the master was trying to force Jeremy into the doctor,
Yeah.
but so in that case, it's kind of be a reverse, and it was a shock. It was, oh God, it's a mind blowing thing. But I also can also remember very first appearance and being a I was in the in the he was on I was on a plane with the fam, and knowing his true identity was like, oh my God, he was the master.
Yeah.
Ah, my reaction was like, oh gosh, I can't believe that he's but his WAP buddies and such.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great, but overall, and when knowing that the master had been destroyed Gallifrey once more,
Yeah.
it was a very God on that one of those episodes, and it was just like, oh my God, Gallifrey is destroyed yet again, and
Yeah.
in by the master, and 13 was so sad about that, and
Yeah.
very shocked to see how it was destroyed once again,
Yeah.
and it was really she's so conflicting about how she wanna say to the fam, and it quickly quickly reveal like how did I'm a something it was such a surprise thing,
Yeah.
and she carries out the burden, and for for a few occasions, and until such time when the secret about the timeless children, and knowing she was that 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 person, I was like,
Yeah.
what? What? The, how this? I thought it was someone else, but I know he was already briefly mentioned back in the Ghost Monument, and then it came into fruition back in Joy's second season.
Yeah.
I was like, how? What the? How did you do that? It's like responding. I think it is more than from one other than the shocking thing. I think it's one of nice expansion about how on the doctor's existence and knowing her lost memories and everything.
Yeah.
And I think it for me it's more than expanding to the lore, and this is something that should not to be a big deal or anything, but um I think it is more on the lore, and when we see the fugitive doctor played by Jormani, there's also
Amazing.
quite what I give it like what the hell. Ow, very surprising been and I like her outfit. It was very hard to see. But yeah, and then there are moments between her and 13 when they properly first met,
Yeah.
and on the in the Matrix. That was
Yeah.
one of my favorite scenes from her. And then the of course in the Flux season, we've seen the fugitive once again. Fugitive once again, very on the consciousness anyway on 13 conscious, but wearing the dark coat, which is, oh my God, it's something like
Yeah.
a kind of alternate universe version, but it's it's just the consciousness of the future doctor, and her recent appearance in the BBC Centenary special
Yeah. It
was
was awesome.
hell. It's crazy the Cyber Masters, and she was, I'm the hey, your mate. I'm the doctor, mate. Something like, and single handedly destroyed the Cyber Masters. Like,
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, she could do that.
Yeah.
That's nice. I was like a ooh surprising, and well, at least she was, she made me a few appearances in the show, but she
Yeah.
manages to squeeze out all together and to prove that she can also like the other doctors, and she's still the same person, but a different case though, and ooh, I really liked it. And okay, going back to the doll, Sasha's math. Oh my, and you see, it was the one thing that I really like the most is how can be disguised in so many ways. That's
Yeah.
the one ingredient. It's always the one ingredient that the master really has, and also he just like the other masters, he always dresses for the occasion in
Yeah.
various always is always dressing up for that for those things up. So we are talking more on that on the stuff later. We gonna do some commentary and impressions about the power of the Doctor. And how do you feel about the new design of the Cybermen? What do you think about them?
I think they ruined me last week when I was watching them. I kind of like the fact that they just felt like yes, they can be emotional, but they just act like normal Cybermen, and I felt like I think now they had orders. Um they just came out like, and then to take that poor child is like, oh my gosh, it kind of, now thinking about it, it reminds you of what happens to the Doctor with Tiffany. And yeah, they were really creepy. I mean, and also Roy Holman did a brilliant design with Rick Design, because they just felt to me like, oh my gosh, this.
It was a pretty surprising thing. It was a kind of bold move from Chirps, but also it really creates the another ripple to the Cybermen being Time Lords once, and it was a pretty surprising knowing that the Cybermen are so iconic. Besides the Daleks and the Master and the Doctor themselves, but one thing I really like the Cyberman design is you can see how the details are very blended up with the classic and the new series, with particularly the eye thing on their heads, which is very cool. It's just nice. I really like their design, and I really thought they had the same voice. They had the same voice, but with different design, and the spikes on their shoulders. I totally like the. Actually, it's one of my favorite Cyberman designs overall, and I appreciate the creative to have doing some nice upgrade to those metal boys that if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, and of course the dollars of themselves, they always have popped up every single time. What do you think about the Dalek trilogy as well? Their most resolution, revolution of the Daleks, and the eve of the Daleks.
Yeah. I was like, I really liked how they were used. I did a video on that a few weeks ago, and what really stands out is I just really felt the darts were. I've always said it. The darts were more dangerous then, and what really stands out is Jodie Whittaker's performance with them when she goes against them. She just, I don't know. There's something about her that says, "Whoa, she is good." And I think like with Eve the Daleks, when there's a lot of things I like about, it, but it does give you that reminder of Heaven Sent, which is one of my personal favorites. It just felt like a different version of Heaven Sent, but it had a lot more. it has. I wouldn't say it had. I think they both have guts and power, but if I was like, I just couldn't really compare them because Evil Dots just showed it was just as good as Heaven Sent, and the way the darts were used, like they kept shooting
Yeah.
it, they were like, oh! So yeah, but yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. So when I watched, because I remember going back once. It was, well, I think it was New Year 2021, and I remember watching that, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm so, and I noticed. I think I noticed things that I didn't notice before, and I think one of them was I think I have it down. I don't know if I still have it, but I think I did remember a lot. I do remember noticing things that I didn't notice the first time. So it just felt like you loved it, but you loved it even more for the new editions. So it just felt amazing.
Mm. So while the other, particularly the new series Doctors, like manically wanted to destroy a lot of Daleks, but 30's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna blow you, I'm gonna give you some better, and then tease you like I'm gonna tease you. You know what? I like it particularly in the Revolution. She was, one thing she meant, she called the Daleks like a video little pet. I was like, it was it was a joyful about that scene.
Yeah.
Oh my God! It was like, I caught you here and your cage like a big little pet.
Yeah.
Ah. One of the coolest banters I ever seen from a doctor on how to deal with the Daleks.
Yeah.
Ah. I totally am laughing. I'm laughing so hard. No kidding. Well, actually, I really like the Dalek trilogy stories. It really makes me the reason why I really kind of such an iconic monster like the Daleks, and I do appreciate about their fascist metaphor. I do adore. Well, of course, we a lot of stuff here, and wanted to annihilate and destroy everything. Where even the prior Dalek stories, including the very first one, wherein they flexing rudeness, their rudeness against different creatures that are way different for them, and they don't like that. They don't like that, and
No.
and I think in the Daleks master plan, which is one of the partially missing stories, I think they they use the potential to conquer every single planet from one planet to another. But unfortunately, though, they always losing to the Doctor.
Yeah.
They always they always losing, and then still it's one from one Doctor to another. They always losing with the help of the companions. It always does. But seriously, on top of that, you can see how to, I want to play. And I even had a Dalek figure on my table. I mean, a Dalek Funko Pop on my table. And it really, it always, when I see that, it makes me want to exterminate me. But you cannot exterminate me because I was always imagining how to deal with a Dalek. And but seriously, they have the cool designs after all, regardless of any iteration or version it is. There's still those devilish pepper pots with plungers and mostly kitchen yeah, blending clause was in the case of the Recon Dalek and the Death Squad Daleks. You know, in the defense drone, sorry, it's the defense drone Daleks.
I remember that.
I think there's one thing. Speaking of this defense drone Daleks, I like the callback. The one of the classic Dalek stories, which is the Remembrance of Daleks, wherein there were two Dalek factions. The Dalek squad, the so-called the pure ones, and the defense drones were they're called the impure, which is a hybrid in between colleagues and humans. Something which is similar to Daleks in Manhattan and Evolution of the Daleks
Yeah.
back in series 3.
Oh,
But
yeah, I
with
love that one.
with yeah, you know, the concept of a human Dalek in that story. But in Revolution, it's a hybrid between the college and the college DNA and a human DNA, which is a very interesting concept. And I really like that thing because it's something that's very interesting, an interesting concept. It was so cool. I really thought it was cool. It pretty reminds me much of what I mentioned. You know, even the Daleks in Manhattan and even the Daleks with the human Dalek hybrid. But this one is be it on a DNA form, and I like that. And the way Jack Robinson dealing with those defense drone Daleks,
Oh, yeah.
he was so proud of himself. He was like, I'm the leader of this planet. You can and I represent humanity, and you wanna join me in get her to sabotage the doctor. Teddy was technically sabotage the doctor,
Nothing
but
much.
unfortunately, he's not. His plans ain't working though, unfortunately. And we have to see Yes got the shine because she commanded Captain Jack and to get rid about the ship, the Dalek ship,
Yeah.
and of course it was one of my favorites from Yaz was she was uh, adjusting and slowly learning how to fly the TARDIS
Yeah.
without
That
relying on the doctor. It really recalls me about it was a nice touch, and I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. hmm And I really like that, and I really like that thing off. Okay, speaking of comeback monsters, what about the Centaurans? Yes,
Oh,
also
yes.
one of my favorite monsters ever. What do you think about their new look?
Oh, I just loved those them because I remember it was me and Satan in school way back, and this was the first that was the first classic story I watched and the first classic like story I got on DVD. So they really are special to me. And I think I've always I mean they were just like the first two stories. And they just felt like the way the Doctor handled them, like last one to handle them was David Tennant, and he did a really great job. Honestly, him and Simons were
Yeah.
and Sarah Jane Adventures as well. David Clark, who I just couldn't stop laughing because he's such a comedian. And then there's also Jonathan Watson, who I know from Two Doors Down as I keep forgetting his name because he plays an absolute hilarious character on there, and I loved the fact that he had a Scottish accent because it made it more hilarious and more comical.
Yeah.
And so it was just really fun. And then the Vanquishers, I think it was just good to see him basically up front, and the fact that they beat the Daleks and Cybermen at their own game. Naughty Daleks for what they did to the Doctor later on, naughty. But yeah, it was they were too good. I mean, and sometimes I think they just sometimes they can misunderstood. Like, one of the more funniest things about these sometimes is that probing event, because I remember the first episode when they don't find out, and it's a part 2, and they find out Professor Rubbish finds out the probing event in the back of the neck, and it kind of is interesting because then as villains they're just I mean, yes, they can, yes, the back of the neck is the weakness and can easily end up killing them, like I've seen on the show, like like how they did in Time Warrior. It was like they just feel so, their warrior status is so, they're just their warrior status is so great. I mean, why what is, I mean, I remember when we fought the Ghost Warrior, we fought the Cyberbots for Centaurans, and there were Cyberbots. It was kind of a fun time. And
no, it wasn't the Centaurans.
Yeah,
I forgot the names of the monsters.
Yeah. I remember I remember the bit where I remember, because at that time I just joined social media, and and I think with the Centaurans, I think they just were the most, to be honest, I think I feel like in modern they've really done well, but I'm just glad that the recent series redesigned into where they were, because I prefer the original designs, and the original designs suit the ones we had last, and that's what makes them so good, because every time they do, like, honestly, like I think 2008, and they tried to clone Martha, it was like the most scariest moment, and it was, and then the way they nearly choked everyone, it was like, what was going on? And I think that moment, and then one of the moments with David Tennant, who did a great job at the scene, and when he's like, I'm warning you, Stal, don't something like that, and he was like, it just like, now thinking about it now, that was like, whoa, that was a moment, David, that was a moment. And
yeah,
sometimes
I like the Centaur. I know, I like for the glory of the Centaur Empire. For the greater glory of the Centaur Empire. I really like their Centaur show. I mean, it was cool. I know they are very iconic as well, and their rebirth design was really close. They're real close to the original, and their outfit was, wow. It was very medieval times, but it's actually we're kind of made in the era when Mary Sickle is dealing in the Crimean War. I really like that episode, though, and all the stuff there. I like the Centaurans being themselves, and we saw Dan did have those potato heads for the first time, and he was just like, "Hey, I just met you. All right, mate. I just met you guys," and he was about to shot. He was about to shot, and all of a sudden, and his only weapon was a walk. Like, how did he deal with those? How did he deal with those potatoes with a walk? And he did so. And he did it with just one hit. I was like, wow, it fit 35 potatoes so darn. Oh my God. Real 5 pants on Darren. And he's looking for the pure head. She's like, I was looking for the pure head. God. And of course, Mexico was very confused about this drama, this Santana drama, and she was confused with the convo between 13 and Dan, and it was like, what are they saying? And she was like, what are they saying? I can't stop laughing, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
I can't stop laughing about the Thomas, even in the finale of Flux, and there was one Suntaran wanted to eat sweets and noticing those chocolates, and
Oh my
it's,
god,
just
that was a
it's such a hilarious moment. I really think it was so hilarious.
Yeah, it was
No
such a good
kidding. It was so hilarious, and he was saying more. I want more chocolate.
Oh gosh! Oh gosh! Oh god! I just was
Yeah. I mean, about funny kid. Oh, okay. Funny moments aside, overall, I really told the son, and they look very scary again. And yeah, well, Chids really did just that. He understood the assignment. He knows the Daleks, he knows the Cybermen, he knows the Mask, and then the Centaurans. He handled it so well.
yeah.
And even the Sea Devils. Wow, I couldn't
Oh my
imagine that
god!
they were long overdue. They were long overdue,
Yeah.
and he really did just that. And it was nice to have the Doctor going back to China after their meeting with Marco Polo,
Oh
and
yeah.
which is also one of those another missing story that I already
Yeah.
listened and watched. And it's good to see her back in China.
Yeah.
For after 600 something years. Give it a timeline with Marco Polo. The last time that she went to China was with Ian, Barbara, and Susan, and did it with a very atrocious spy who wanted to overthrow Kublai Khan and wanted to ruin Marco Polo's reputation as a traveler. But after 600 something years, she came back to China, this time with Yas and Dan, and dealing with the same devils and meeting Madam Ching.
Oh, she was amazing. Love so much.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, she was amazing. And I really thought she was a awesome figure. And I thought that, and the mystery of the floor that was very properly confused, but it was an interesting subplot to me.
Yeah.
And she went, and the gang going back about 300 years earlier was such a nice, although a bit, but it's still a timey-wimey thing. It also balances off with all the some historical shenanigans and the timey-wimey shenanigans in one single element. And the Sea Devils are really more scary than ever. And oh my God, they're with swords, not with guns or laser guns, but with swords. And I really saw the fight with swords. And it gave you know what I mean. I really like that. I really like the story because, of course, we got to see devils and the love confession of the Doctor to Yaz. Yeah, you know what I mean. So we're gonna, of course. It was. I really thought that it was so good. It was nice touch with the subplot. Nice subplot to me, and the slow burn that Chips unexpectedly wanted to push through. Yeah, he did just that, and the thing is the one the doctor said that you're the one of the greatest people I ever met, everything,
Yeah.
including, of course, with including River Song. I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
why did
Yeah.
I mention River Song? I was like, oh my God, wow! You even mentioned her wife. Wow, it was like, and yes, it's like, what? I was just slightly jealous of. I really think she was slightly jealous about that. And
Yeah.
and the underwater date scene was
Oh, I
wow.
love that. That's just so good.
Oh, that's so they are just so sweet. No joke. They are so sweet. I'm great squee on that scene, and there's something's missing. Yeah, they are
Yeah.
like there's something missing. No, no, like, but on top of that, yeah, I real and the last part when
Oh,
the doctor wanted to say something about something to say, and you know she really not she didn't have any time that
yeah.
she might be changing again.
Yeah. I just
Out
I
of
that
the
that seemed to me as I don't know why, but most of the times I watch that scene, I get emotional for some reason. I'm like, and and as you said about having no time, I think now it's happened, it kind of feels more real. So that's what I love about it so much.
mm. Yeah, I really thought it was good, and what just Les said that could we just live in the present and there's something, and she said that her nanny's called about to the doctor, and the doctor said that after uh passing on the rock from Yaz and say that I wish this were gone forever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind well, it's just hard, isn't it? It's just, you know,
Yeah.
emotionally like
It's such an emotional thing for Tasman though,
yeah,
and yeah, it has a lot of moments, but especially the crumbs uh from Jodie's first season, which is the fourth
yeah.
episode of the like, are you to see each other?
Oh, oh my gosh, oh my god, what a she is, honestly.
I think, my goodness, it was. I don't think so. That was the time when I started to deep down about them, and knowing that it's gonna happen. I really thought that it's gonna happen or something, but it really did. It was the slow
Yay!
burn. It really does during the slow burn romance in between them. They're they themselves as kind of um some something that I know. I've said back. I said in this podcast that families are more than just a ship. There are just somebody that I can look up to as well,
Yeah,
and I already said that also back in our second season, which of course we our episode would tackle about the couple. The it's it's the ship that can inspire everybody, not just the queer people, but everybody else,
yeah,
no
that's
matter the
right.
gender. Yeah, and and everything and every single thing that is being represented, but also okay, how can I should I say what I said? Oh, I'm sorry. I have to recall. I literally forgot what I said back.
It's
but
okay.
there are more than just a ship. There are wonderful people that I ever seen. the one of the coolest people I've ever seen. Oh, my goodness, I never thought it would be them.
Yeah.
And it's a very it's like destiny, you know. It's like you are gonna doing it. It's like the string of fate strangled towards to your somebody that you actually loved, and it's like and in the tangles, no, if if they're breaking up, if
Yeah.
those experiences to if the string of fate what's the joy, it never ever cannot be broken unless somebody is gonna hinder your healthy relationship with your
Yeah.
partner.
Yeah.
So this is why I think they met by not by chance, by a sudden twist of destiny. I think
Yeah.
that's the most important. I think that's the most one of the most important things about Tasman,
Yeah.
and the thing that literally like man like I have some this. I think for me, like I already said in my again in our discussion with Charlie, who is also Peruvian, that
Yeah.
this is something I've never seen before. I'm not. This is something I've never seen before in my years as a part of the queer community. I've never seen something that that I can inspire and look up to in with those two. And you know that Jody and Amanda really nailed every single moment
Yeah. They
from the
did.
start to the from the start to finish. Such a very phenomenal. They have phenomenal people, phenomenal actors, and their chemistry was insanely incredible,
Yeah.
I should say. And I really thought that they really managed to be, you know, they ended up together from the start up to the finish. And even though you know, when if I remember correctly, when and Ryan wanted to leave the TARDIS, I really thought this was the first in a quite long while that one or two companions that aren't killed by some universal massive force of doom after
Oh
their
yeah.
travels in the TARDIS. It's been a quite long one since I think, yeah, Martin just was the last one, and it
Yeah.
was, man, it was so emotional. It was, I was so gutted to see them leave, but also they leaving them the psychic papers, which is a nice
Oh yeah.
parting gift. And I'm really very happy about it because at least they already traveled with the doctor and they're facing up some the adversities that the doctor has seen and she hasn't seen before. And I'm pretty happy that Graham was making a comeback in the recent special. I really, I was so, and I know we all know already see him. We say Bradley Walsh in the taping in the taping back around last year, and we really thought that he making a comeback as well, and it was a surprise,
Yeah.
and and not only that, well, we all got it, but more on that those later when we go on with the commentary, and Ryan was. Wow, I couldn't believe that he really managed um, to overcome over to deal with dyspepsia. And Tossing Cole really delivered everything else on this
Yeah.
time the show. He's such an amazing actor. I do really he really does, and yeah, he is such a wonderful person.
Yeah.
And we got, and of course John Bishop was a
Oh yeah.
nice actor. and he really is a truly a career ally because he really knows about, from what I've seen on his interviews, that he actually wanted to accepting somebody else, that he wants to, he wanted to have somebody that can be accepted, and he resonates that with playing as Dan, another amazing companion that I can make it all laughable at, and with for once he became his companion when the doctor wasn't around,
Yeah.
and he was very instrumental in setting. He was very instrumental on how became, he became the wingman of the cop of the pair,
Yeah.
and the best wingman of this ship, and he literally was that instigate about her, about Yas's sexuality, and he wants to come out, and of course, Yas being coming out was something I can say. I can empathize about
Yeah.
she was hesitating about her sexuality and about her visit on the doctor. It was a nice touch.
Yeah.
I can feel what she has been going through, from being bullied by some nasty pips that wanted to destroy her and her
No.
dignity as a person, but to come in terms with her sexuality and all the stuff here. I never I'm nothing to say, but it was a very emotional thing, and I'm very happy that Yas really flexing everything else without any hesitation to Dan, and she doesn't know what I about feel about it. Of course, knowing that Dan was talking to the doctor that Yas liked her,
Yeah.
as in for real, and not the other way around.
Yeah, because when you look at it, that kind of spurs her on going forward, and it kind of the story, like I said, we've done trying to wing them on. It's just like it just makes it so beautiful, and when I look back at the moment, it felt like that was so beautifully done.
Such a beautifully uh, done, and yeah, again, it was just wonderful. Okay, so we're gonna going on to our commentary and impressions about the power of the Doctor. Um, what what are your impressions about the, of course, Jodie's regeneration story?
I actually really enjoyed it. It really shows that she ends up going on an adventure, and once again puts her in a trap, and then the whole thing with her being forced regeneration, it's just, and then the master using it, it's like, oh my gosh, oh no, naughty masters. I'm like, but what I love is the fact that they did use Joey in a good way. Like, they used her as a hologram, her chatting with your doctors. They still managed to make the effort, and I think that's what makes the story stand out. And I think at the end, when she's having to sort herself, and then she's all right one moment, and when the master gets her, just because of his perpetual arguments, because he doesn't want, because he'd rather have them both gone. It really just it does bring a tear, because she deserves, like, oh, nurse again, and she deserves so much, so much better. I mean, but then again, the fact is, what the best thing about the episode, in my opinion, it's gotta be when she compliments Yaz, and I don't remember any other generation doing that, and that's what makes that moment special. And then she sheds a tear a few times, and then as Jodie might have said, some of what they did was them, and I think that just made it more realistic. Not just they weren't doing it not just for the characters, but for themselves. And there's just so many good moments about like with Jodie and that last line, tag Europe, as many people have said, very playful. But yeah, it's just a story that I think has that emotional punch and really gets to me in the end. And the more I think about it, the more I think I'm gonna get emotional again. It's just that it means a lot to me as a Jodie fan, and it just kind of was the perfect ending for one of the best Doctors for me. So it was just beautifully done.
I think for me, I really thought it was a lot of surprises, and as I posted on my socials that it was a nice celebration of the old and the new. Why? Because you got the classic companions, you got the classic doctors, and David Bradley is the first Doctor.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm really surprised that Ian Chesterton was there at the end. Oh my God! Oh, I was surprised that he was finally appearing after almost 6 decades since his last appearance on the show. And there were of course there was Kay Man's Joe Grant. Yeah, and there also we got Buddy Lamford's Mel Bush, and yeah, of course we had the past and present. You got of course Graham, we got Dan, we had Yaz, and of course the unexpected Kate Stewart, because we all know that since his dad, the Brigadier, of course, his dad is also a companion, so she's also there. So yeah, and she's also the very occasional companion. Yeah, there was of course Tegan, Tegan Jovankan and Ace were also there. Yeah, it was a like good thing, and we got of course not just one, but even 5 doctors, 5, 6, 7, and 8 were also in the consciousness of the Doctor. I call it the Guardians of the Edge, which is another new concept, and I really thought it was nice because the consciousness of the Doctor. I mean, the mortally wounded Doctor, knowing inside their consciousness was a nice idea, and they, of course, the past incarnations wanted to tell the current one that to get push herself up, something like that. And what I really like about the nice, I read the it was saying that he was not fan of the robes. I really thought he was kind of it made me laugh off, and the hologram scene. Oh, it really pretty reminds me of the one with 13. Yeah, it was a nice touch when we see 5. One has a talk with Tegan, and of course we got 7. We're talking to Ace. It was a nice touch. It pretty reminiscing on the same thing with 13. Yes, it was the hologram. She was such a. It was how many times have you seen the hologram scene? You basically got since 9 star, of course, 9 star to date, of course, and now we got even the classic Doctors have their own hologram scene, which is a nice touch. A huge love letter to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. and you can see the master being disguised as Rasputin. I really thought he was ah. Even the trailers and the piece of pics, like, oh my god, he really is Rasputin. He's
Yeah.
very like. I really thought he was cool, and we got Asha, we got Ashad
Yeah.
returning after he got shrunk by the master, and then he came back, and knowing it was Tegan had who took care of that lone Cyberman, and he even faced off Kate Stewart. And
Mhm.
I was so nervous about Kate
Me too.
because
Oh my
I was
god.
like, oh my god, no, Kate, you don't be like your dad. Don't be
Yeah.
like the brigadier. You're being on Seminole's converting to a Cyberman. Like, no, Kate, you cannot do. You please find something. And fortunately, that Tegan stopped the conversion, which is very cool. I like that, and the and I really thought she wanting to make a redemption resource for Adric, which is man, that's so sad. I really think a nice. It's very sad, you know, when if I mentioned Adric. My goodness. All right. All that feels aside. I think Tegan already kind of learned her lesson in making her past mistake, and she really faced out the Cybermen, those new designs of the Cybermen. Uh, since their last appearances, the respective appearances in their respective stories, in respective times of the show. It was such a nice thing, and they even facing Ashad. I ran in them, in between both Tegan and Ace, and Kate was, was on the verge on being converted, and Ashad once said that you were, I was, I was once like you guys. They have fear and being, being too emotional. And Kate was, deep inside, you can see Kate was, was very fearful deep inside. But she wanted, wanted to live up to, not just only to live on his dad's legacy, but also she wanted to be, being the unit head as her own. And, being taken even if she wanted to risk her life.
Yeah.
And just like he's just very like her dad. And when the new unit HQ got destroyed by those giant giant beings, yeah, unfortunately, and she really actually rented them. Like, yeah, that's very expensive though. But I think she has the insurance on real within that, building. But and you can see that she Annie entered the TARDIS, and she really how do you call it? She 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 echoed about her dying in a different fashion. Why is it a big? And she was like, "What's on the? It's really on the big on the inside, something like that." Yeah. I almost forgot about that. That one particular scene when Ace finally facing off the Daleks once again, and she sneak on them, and we could see Graham
Yeah.
wanting about to get hit by Ace's bat. I was like,
Oh,
what the hell? Got like
he's such a legend.
it was a nice surprise though. And he really showed his psychic paper to Ace, and he thought he was a seismologist, but no. But well, he is actually the doctor's other companion. And speaking of that, we could see Yas facing those two older companions for the first time. Something which is very similar to Rose meeting Sarah Jane Smith.
Oh
back in series two. Pretty reminds me of that, but in a different fashion though. And Tegan was like, "We were just like you decades back." Yeah, and Yaz was like, "I'm Yaz, and the one that you guys didn't know about anything about the doctor, something like that."
Right.
And yeah, in very confusing, but as as those moments progress, they be you could see how yes, pilots the TARDIS and those sticky notes from Revolution was, oh my God, she really did that. She really did just that. She really kept those sticky notes from which very fortunate that she already kept those after the doctor once again ranking up the Daleks once again back in Revolution, and apparently probably she brought them into a safer place or anything. But yeah, if you know what I mean. And I really like the and that particular scene when the doctor is kidnapped once again,
Oh
and
yeah.
putting into a Dalek casing again. Probably not the first. Again, this is not the first time that we see the doctor um, being into the Dalek casing,
Oh no, yeah.
because yeah, we see that. And the master, by being the sensitive spirit, using his teacher comparison TCM to play something, which is the Rasputin, the Bonnie
Yeah.
M song about Rasputin. It was so I mean, I was like, hey, wait, there's something familiar. I was like, hey, that sounds familiar. It's always playing on the radio every day. It's always like, okay, I can conclude that this song might be played on my mind like every day. I know it's already played on radio, but after that episode, it's gonna be it. I will never ever gonna recover that. And the unintended the confusion between a cybermaster and the Dalek was where they were like, "What?" I mean, it was so funny. It makes me laugh a lot all the time, and something that is more on the things that we see, and the train scene at the beginning of the story. I mean, they're quite short, but you could see we got the orange spaces
Oh
making a
yeah.
comeback. Yay! I really thought that, and I was so quite nervous when Dan's helmet got destroyed by one Cyberman,
Oh my
and I
god.
really thought he was gonna die or something. But oh no 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 no! Don't do it, Dad! Don't do this! You can't. I was like that, and fortunately he was saved, and he did doing his best to calm the passengers on the space train, calm
Yeah.
down, to calm them those guys. And unfortunately for 13, that the child, the child got kidnapped by the Cyberman,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she was so sorry for that, and she and of course she did a huge mistake in that way. And we get to see Vendor
Yep.
again, and I think his spaceship got crashed. I noticed that does his spaceship got crushed again this time by the Cyberman or something, or that artificial moon that is kind of like the actual moon itself, and you can see the outer TARDIS in that in the front. Pretty reminds me of the one in the Bad Wolf store art in the Bad Wolf arc I really thought it was
Oh
a nice touch. I really thought it was a nice touch to me. And the thing that we already talked about the forced regeneration. When I said that, I said, not again. What?
yeah,
I was I was like, not again. Why did they do that? I really thought that I already said that a couple of minutes ago that we took. Um, it's already mentioned in a TV movie that the master had the attempts to regenerate the master's body. Hold on. Yeah, I really thought.
yeah,
I really thought that it's not gonna work on the doctor and it's going to how I call it, how to to use the doctor's regeneration energy, and it failed unfortunately, but it but the master did just that for real. And
yeah,
again, this isn't the first time that we see the master got regenerated into another form because we're seeing that with Derek to John Sim,
yeah,
back in Utopia, and then with a lot of the Time Lords, and yeah, and then the ultimate series to series 3 episodes. So this is the first time that we see the Master becoming a Doctor for once. It was a new thing, and it was a mind blowing stuff. And
yeah,
I think why is it just me or Chiefs do the assignment from the TV movie? And he really did just that. You know,
yeah,
I really thought the Matthew Jacobs script was already absorbed into to the one of Chips, and I really thought he did just that. It wasn't referred to then. And yes, once again, man, my girl really did just that. Because she was so pissed off with the master,
oh yes, I was
and
here. I was later.
but honestly, I'm not gonna get you. She was so pissed off. What the hell is the doctor? My
Yeah,
doctor, and it's like, oh my god, yes, yes, girl, you get rid of the master. Well, I think actually, but I'm telling you that it was nice to have the doctor's past outfits and the props they had. Just like to record to flute. You get five celery,
yeah,
and then, of course, iconic scarf and Seven's question
jump.
mark sleeveless sleeveless shirt, and we got 10's tie and 12's pants. Those
Yeah,
checkered pants, and I think it is his long sleeve polo. All in these nice references, and of course, we got 13's coat, the actual coat, and the earring. I never thought that Sasha really delivered so well.
I
I
know it's
really
weird.
thought he was so wicked at that in that form.
He
You
was
know,
so mad.
he was so mad, very pure madness, and the you know, kind of like oh my god, I really thought he was such a um pointing out what to be the doctor for once, at least, you know, right? Okay, but yes, yet again, so one of the things he did to the doctor, and she wanted to, hey man, I want my doctor back. God, get out, get away, bring her back. That I'm gonna choose, gonna choose violence once and for all. She was something like that, and the way that 13 was actually inside the consciousness of the guardians of the edge. you could see how the past incarnations wanted to get on this, get herself out together, and how to put it all throughout, how to get managed up. And you can see the dark code. Have you? I really noticed that. I totally like the way how it was nice to know to see those some of the past versions of the doctor want really have some advice and wanted to help 13 out of that sticky situation and pull herself together, and yeah, she already embraced it. And that's like a lot. I think one of the things I really like about the special. And afterwards, this is something I really love that unfortunately for the master that he I mean I know he wanted to be he wanted yes to be his companion. Yeah, again, TV movie reference, and I suppose yeah, he wanted to another Asian companion, like just much like Chan Li did, but unfortunately for him, that he has declined the offer, and afterwards he pushed him away back to the that chamber, that freaking had trust gas chamber of forced regeneration, and yeah, she did just that, and I really like that, and you can see how she managed to save Ace by flying up the TARDIS all alone without relying on the Doctor, and pulling out, and we get to see Tegan and Graham inside the ship, and you can see how the Master was so you know so in desperation, so wanted to be the Doctor was, but unfortunately this didn't last long, and yeah, it, and yeah, you could see how the Doctor was technically damaged by the first regeneration energy. The regeneration energy that she already has, and Yaz was running towards her, and you could see the power, and their hands almost intertwine.
Yeah.
The good reminiscing of Spyfall,
Yeah.
and when Yaz was fortunately kidnapped by the K7
Yeah.
and went to another dimension, and and also uh and we do the same thing with the Doctor. And the thing is that it's just such a nice parallel, and
Yeah.
of course they're both evolving with the Master.
Yeah.
You get the idea. I really thought that it's a nice parallel.
Yeah. It was just like that moment just moves me, especially when Yaz says, "You're welcome in the quiet voice." It just felt like that. It just felt like Yaz had turned a corner. And I know a lot of people haven't. I understand why people haven't connected with her, but that moment was like, that's my Yaz.
Go on, just go on.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I mean, when with Mandy and Joey, that chemistry. I mean, when you look at them, they're just whoa, why, oh, why, you don't deserve this. It's powerful. It hurts you, and I think it's a show. This show can do that to you, and you have your phase, and then, oh no, you did not do that to them. Work, and I just felt it was like it was different to, because I was worried at some point about this because there was a lot of things that happened before, but when I was just glad to find out that fact that everything was different because, and but yeah, it was just like the perfect moment and the perfect way to allow Yaz to shine was to save the Doctor, which she did.
Yeah. I really I want to say that yes, we received the Doctor this time. I think she has the return of the favor.
Yeah.
And this thing when of course the Doctor had got shot once again. This time by the not again. I was like, not again, getting shot again. I mean, it was the third time because the first one getting shot by the gangsters in San Francisco, and then they got shot once again by the Cyberman. And she was 12, and now she got hit again and again by that freaking hell beam from the artificial moon. And God, yes, has not hesitating to save the Doctor, to save her Doctor. Oh my God, it's pretty reminiscing on the Timeless Children when she not hesitating stumbled into Gallifrey and wanting to see the Doctor. Yeah, pretty reminiscing much of that series 12 finale, and I really thought it was cool.
Yeah,
it was a nice parallel to that, and this time, and that yes, doing a Princess Carrie on the Doctor.
Oh yes,
yes. It pretty reminds me much on how a converted Bill did the 12 before. And oh my God, Bill, why they do that to Bill Potts?
Oh my gosh, it was just like, oh my God. But the thing with Bill, the way she, honestly, the same thing with Yaz. Honestly, she stepped into the role. I mean, she was converted, but she was like, I will not allow this. And the way she stops them now to find a way is like, I will not you're not abandoning us. She obviously I'd had enough of the masters telling her what to do, and this time it's just the Doctor, just her girlfriend, her love. Yes, I want to save my girl, and is when I just get emotional thinking about it right now because, oh my gosh, this is not the way. This is not the way. There's so many. It's just that moment where you're like, oh gosh, it's at the end, and then it is what's caused, because sometimes I think with 12 and onto the Bill thing, he was hurt, I think, at the start of the episode, and then he gets shot. Well, he doesn't get shot. He gets electrocuted by Cyberman, triggering his regeneration. And then, as you've said, he gets shot by Cyberman and blows up. It's like, what is going? Why are you making our Doctor suffer? This is the second time in the row. But yeah, it's just Yaz, the legend.
Yeah, I really thought she really did, and with the Doctor, she really, really did. She did the assignment from the Doctor's advice that she will not. That I will not, back in If the Dollars, I will not let you die because of the decisions I've taken. And yes, did the assignment. Like, what the heck? How she managed to do all of this. And she really did. And you could see how noticed the cheeky kissing on the while it was being exploded. I didn't notice it until, okay, I'm going to do this. You're not going to get a kiss, I'm doing it myself. Well, she really did. And I really thought it was, it made me so squeaky. I really thought this, oh God. I just can't get over. I'm so sorry. But yeah. Yeah, she really just that. And when the doctor get regain her consciousness, it was another nice callback to the timeless show that it was when she was um getting unconscious. I mean, so regain her consciousness, and but this time it's gonna be great. Just with Dan and Tegan and Ace and Kate Stewart, and they call her extended fam. And
Yeah.
I really like the parallels between within her within Joy's era and the other and some in other eras that came before. It was a nice touch. I really thought it was a nice a nice but very emotional thing for the story.
Yeah.
And then this is gonna be that are the very heart wrenching and very tear jerking one
Yeah. Yeah.
that the doctor is gonna be once again regenerating,
Yeah.
and the glowy hand. I totally remember the freaking hand of glowy hand. Very reminiscing about the one with 10 and 11 before. I really thought it was a nice touch again. It was like, oh my god, here comes the regeneration again. And even though this is my first regeneration moment in real time, but I think it's gonna be totally hit me a lot. And I thought that she was um she needed more time, wanted to more time with Yas, and she want to make up everything that she makes messed up because all of those stuff happened with, including the one with Swarm. Of course, I
Yeah.
almost forgot
Oh,
about the Ravagers. Yeah, when you remember that Yes was technically kidnapped, and you've got to see the rise on her right palm and saying, what would the doctor do? That is
yeah.
a question that only Yes can answer, and really it pretty recalls everything else. And I wanted to say, the doctor wanted to save Yas from the clutches of Swarmazor, and that's some sort of another parallel. And when you get to see, Yas's time stream, and Yas gonna be almost about to disappear, you want to say, and the doctor wants to promise to find her. It was oh my god, why? To heal the field. Oh my god, I was shocked that I don't know, I was so surprised and shocked that it didn't happen, and they already fulfilled their promise, and now in their last journey together, they made a promise together, and they wanted to be to each other, even for the last time. And yeah, I slightly cried when
Yeah.
I slightly cried. On that scene, it was, you know what it means. But and the doctor's like, you know what this means, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, just nodded. And goddamn, my girl is crying. But also, oh my god, wow, man, the girl really nails that emotional scene again.
Yeah.
Even Jodie.
Yeah. The moment it was like, oh my gosh, and it was just like when you look at it, it's like what was there's just something there. It just felt natural, Yes, I think I don't think Yaz was expecting it, and you know, and the doctor was like, she was getting emotional as well. She shed a tear at the end of the scene, and she knew she was like, right, I'm going to do one more thing, and they do. So yeah, it's based on
Yeah, I really thought so too. And they have an ice cream date. and makes me wanna crave some ice cream because of that.
Yeah.
And I would wanna do it when I cosplay Yaz in the next con. But one remembering that scene with that scene and remembering the dog. Could imagine how why craving that ice cream that she remembered that last date and and last day together, and of course that scene when Yas had safely landed back on Earth, and it was a nice callback when of course about Dan and Graham was that peacefully left the TARDIS, as well as Dan. Dan was, oh my god, wait, I thought, why is Dan leaving? It was so short. And yeah, he really wanted to, and of course, it was his decision to do so. Uh, and I was so sad about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's quite sad. But this one was, man, leaving it quite so sad about, but the journey. I know the journey in between the Doctor and Yaz will meet its end, and really show at least that she is safe, and we being with, of course, with the other companions, and they already forming a support group in between. And I would say it is a nice thing, and they having support group, and Graham was sharing stuff, some stuff about his troubles on the with the Doctor, and the thing with Dan.
Yeah.
And but in Dan's case, he was technically kidnapped by Carvanista.
Oh yeah. The naughty dog.
And he's kidnapped, and knowing that. And I really could imagine the companions wanted to sharing their own experiences with the Doctor. I would say that, but of course, Ian being one of the original companions, he will be so confused. I would imagine Dan was, I would imagine Dan was sharing, I should say, saying about his traveling to China in the early 19th century, and Ian was like, "Hey, we were with there before, and we were traveled with Marco Polo before," and then they were so confused because they ate one day, and then was I would imagine about oh, there's one tweet saying that how I called it, a lot of stuff to happen. But oh my god, I'm pretty sure that Ian will mentally totally confused about it. What the hell is going on when I still left? And how I called it, and he also say that, did you say her? There, but at the same time, he also said that you guys should go with the Doctor, a they or them, something like that. Oh my god, we didn't imagine about that. And then Kate still was just like, if, I would love to join unit. And it was like, what the hell, Kate? You're turning the therapy session to an interview. I was like, what? My God, Kate Stewart, what did you do that? What did you do that? I mean, what did you do? Turn that therapy session into a job interview? Oh, goodness gracious. Well, on top of that, yeah, I think, of course, Joe Grant was, yeah, usually wanted to share her own experiences as well.
Yeah.
and we notice about an empty chair. I
Yeah.
wonder what what it does it represent.
And
And I was, what do you think about? What does the empty chair represent?
well, Janet Fielding on Twitter, it's probably going to be unanswered, but I personally could see it as either Ryan being there, or it could be all companions lost and not there in their remembrance. It's just, I personally, I don't know who which I would prefer, but they would both make a lot of sense to me as a viewer. So, yeah, I say probably Ryan or companions not here but not forgotten.
Yeah. His what is the doctor was like, where's Ryan? He's on, and Graham was like, he was on the shopping. Oh my God, but the earth is already is praying yet again, and Ryan's just going shopping. I suppose he's wandering somewhere. Wandering somewhere, I suppose. I really actually don't know. But yeah, and we get there. It was a nice touch of those companions, and then Yaz was just still processing about you know being left out peacefully, but she still uh, carries the lessons and the she still carries the lessons and the things that she was taught by the doctor. And I really thought it was a nice conclusion to their story.
Yeah.
It was a so emotional thing, and she already said that of course, Tegan and Ace were concerned about Yaz and about asking that it doesn't mean that she'll be fine.
Yeah, that was a
And
nice.
yeah,
that was a nice.
Go on.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just because I just love the fact that they do care for her, and the fact that they know that she was close to the daughter. So it's just that nice touch to see that link from classic companions to the current companions, because it makes it more magical and special.
Yeah. And fortunately enough that 30 was the first doctor that whose companions are all safe and sound and intact their memories. And it was a nice touch, and well, it's good to see all four of her fam is completely safe, and they really they already carried the memories of her and intact. And I think Martha was already. Well, I had canon this, but I think suppose that Martha is up somewhere. I think, and she didn't make it to the therapy session. But I was just really at canon though. But it was nice to seeing all the companions forming a support group, and I really like that. And maybe one of these days we might them seeing again in the future.
So, what do you think about, of course, the 30s regeneration? What is your impression about it?
I just love it because it's so hopeful and happy, and we're seeing a lot of sad moments, so it's good to see 13 being, having thoughts like, she's sad she's not going to be able, but she's giving David and Luigi the support they need going forward, and also outside hasn't been done in years, so it's a really good.
Go on.
Yeah. I think it's just an amazing. it's just amazing to see, and to know that Jodie left her behind and inside her, it makes her more, satisfying, and allows us to just feel for her and just say she's getting on with it. She wants to give all the support to the best, and that's what makes it a very special one.
Yeah. It was nice to having the doctor not return into the TARDIS for the first time in quite a long time.
Yeah.
And it was, I really thought it was just an amazing, refreshing thing because you know what's going to happen. I like her final lines. I know, Doctor, whoever I'm about to be.
Yeah.
Doug, you're it. Oh my god, and everything the late motif of her thing was, oh my god, it was emotional. Everything in between for the everything was on the sunrise and rising up like a phoenix, and all of a sudden when 13 have been regenerated in a new incarnation, and oh goodness, it was David Tennant yet again.
Yes, again. Oh, it was great.
What? Oh, and with a new outfit, which I already seen it in the 60th anniversary filming, and we could see him once again there with Donna, and I believe it's the Celestial Toy Maker.
Yeah.
With a new outfit, and we could see Shruti Gatwa.
Oh yay! We love him.
Like in front of what in just a short second, he really already nailed it. Shruti Tall already nailed it. I'm getting anxious, but getting excited to see Shruti how during this iconic wall, and I really thought it was a good idea because the thing that I was something that I look forward to. Shruti was just another phenomenal actor, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna nail it. And what are the things that you look forward to the second year of course, Rosity Davis?
Actually, because I've been watching his section, and he just is so funny. And I mean, I can't stop laughing when he actually does something really funny, and I just love him as Eric. And I'm hoping to get a bit of his natural accent and Eric to make him appeal, and because he's just got that charisma. I think he's going to be more saucy when we see him be the Doctor for real, because that's going to be what's going to bring me joy to the role. He's going to come in and yes, come and play, Shuri, play.
Yeah, it's kind of very nice to retain his accent, and I really like it because I totally like his accent. Being being a Scottish and an African, this natural African, and then with a Scottish accent, it was such a good thing to know. He probably fortunately to kind of retain it. And look at you can see look at Capaldi. He actually look at Pierre Capaldi. He really retained his Scottish accent. And you could see also Chris Eccleston retaining his accent, and of course we got Jodie retaining her accent. It was just good to see how each Doctor retained their accents ever since the privy, and it's a nice touch to hear some more. And where we already saw a video, his first video in the show, in his first promotional video, and he was saying, "Oh my god! I mean, oh my god, Shooty! He was so cool." For the moment that he saw him for the first time, I was like, "Oh my god, he was so cool, Dad!" And he, and the explaining about what is Doctor Who, and what is the TARDIS and everything. And I really like his answer if he had a TARDIS, he wanted to go back to Africa and even in Nigeria. And he mentioned a and a mythical god in from that country. And I suppose this is actually it's gonna be. I would want to see more historicals again when Shooting takes over, and I would want to see. Of course, he has the shoes to shoes to fill in. He has, and then everything. Like everything, and all the doctors since Patrick Troughton. They have lots of shoes to fill in, and they already did in different ways. Even I think Colin Baker, I think for me, he tried his best
Yeah.
to be, to being the doctor, even though he may be not good sometimes, but I think he did his best. He give it his all, and get a very more spiky incarnation. And for me, he really did. He really nailed it so much. I think, and every doctor really nails in different ways. And again, I think Shruti will be he's gonna nail it as well. And he's gonna be carry out so many things which are very new to him. Just like what Matt did, and even Jodie. I could feel it. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the new fans would do the same thing as me. They're gonna stumble into the universe hole. Not only they're gonna do the same experience as myself and everybody else's who are just already stumbled into the universe. And things that I could be I would want to be a mentor such to them. Yeah, but and it's something nice. I'm not a good mentor, but again, I would want to tell the new fans that this this whole entire sphere is so wide, and you could see if you want to give it same. If you want to go enter, you can same. If you want to taste out the same experience as mine, they better do so, because it's gonna be a timey-wimey, a really wobbly timey-wimey experience. Unlike any other, unlike like any other stuff that you see in various fan communities. But to manage that is you can appreciate what all the stuff, what the other stuff the show has, and even in associated media, and the things that I would say to them. I could say that I would gonna borrow Captain Jack's line. Enjoy the journey while you own it, because the joy it's worth the pain.
Yes, that's right.
That would be my advice to those people who are new to the show. Ever since Shooting God was announced, I'm pretty sure you're gonna remember that they're gonna do the same thing as mine, and the things that they're gonna be surprised as well when they saw various stuff that they have never seen before.
Yeah.
So that's so that was our okay. So before we're gonna end it up our convo, we're not gonna expecting too much about the 60th special, but I think it's gonna be full of surprises
Yeah.
because we got not only I'm sure is I sure call him new 10. Somebody on Twitter suggested that. So it should be new 10 for me, but yeah, if you know what I mean. And we're gonna see my other favorite companion, which is Donna.
Yeah.
And I love Donna so much. He was so cracking
I
me
know,
up,
right?
and she was so funny. I'm not kidding. And already the way the banter between them and of course the doctor, right? Particularly the 10, David. They're nice, very nice. They're having a nice banter, but at the same time you could see how emotional she has. And I was kind of very sad that her memories got wiped out.
Same.
So I suppose that this new tan might be should be fixed up. I wonder what would be his reaction when he's gonna see Donna once again. This time with
Yeah.
a kid, or
Oh
rather
yes. Oh my God.
transgender kid, which
Yes.
is who is played by of course Yasmin Finney. And yeah, I want we're gonna see Wilf one for the final time. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be an emotional
Yeah.
wreckage.
I love Will.
I also love Wilf, and he was such an amazing recurring companion, and I never ever seen something that he was such a wonderful character. And the way that for a short period of time alongside 10, he really did that. He really did so, and he wanted to, you know, wanted to say things that 10 should apply, and how things have changed for Donna because of him. And of course, now that Donna made a comeback, and I would want to see what kind of reaction would with 10, I said, well, new 10, with Donna having a daughter, and well, it's got to be her reaction. I don't know what's gonna happen. And then we also we have Neil Patrick Harris is the new celestial toy maker,
Oh yes.
and
Yeah.
with I was surprised that he's gonna be the new celestial toy maker from the looks of his outfit and all of that, and you can see the props on set. I'm pretty sure he's basically the new toy maker, and he
Yeah.
wanted to play some more games with the Doctor,
Yeah.
and he wants to take revenge on the Doctor, and I believe that he's gonna some sort of gonna do the same energy as the Master did,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I there's it's gonna be, well, it's a very complicated yet very exciting thing to look forward. And yeah, and of course Shruti as well. He's gonna be amazing. And again, I would say to the new fans, I'm gonna be like Jodie as well. It's actually a new experience to me. I'm the same boat as Jodie. I mean, everything is new to me. So I'm gonna grab the opportunity to embrace that. The fam that, even though sometimes it's not that we're the same case, but still we can manage that. We can always manage that with our common sense. And but still, I think the most important thing for me is I'm going to grab this opportunity to explore more on the Doctor Universe, and I
Yeah.
will not. And I will gonna, you know, wanted to see, I'm gonna borrow yes a see yes a see line that I want more
Yes.
and more of the universe and more time with, of course, more time with everybody else and more time with the spending time and while I'm still here. And I get I have and more of the universe as well. And yeah, there's something I wouldn't want to grab this thing off. And I can feel the passion, the dedication to everybody who are grew up with the show, and I can feel the appreciation that I sent to them. It was a massive, being a part of the extended fam was such a huge thing to me. The whole part of me, and it was a good thing. And while you're enjoying the pain, it's really worth it.
Yeah.
Um, so that was really wrapping up our commentary and impressions about the Barber Doctor, as well as our um things that the thing that we looking up to, which is the 60th anniversary, which is, I don't know, is very explosive. Both of them are very gotta be explosive. It's gotta be a massive thing. And um oh, by the way, before we actually say goodbye, why do you want to promote your socials?
Oh yes. You can follow me on at Peter Jodie on Twitter, or you can follow me on Lee Craddock on Facebook and Lee C on Instagram.
Yeah. So, do you want to give a huge shout out to, of course, to your to your friends, or of course, to our fellow Hoovians out
Yeah.
there?
I would like to say a huge hello to my family, of course, Juvian and Star Wars, everyone. Have a great time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I really want to see that. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for taking the time with me in this podcast.
Thank you.
It was a good start for our third season, and I'm pretty sure I would love to. Of course, you can always come back here on our podcast anytime.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, I'm pretty looking forward to, of course, to have me in your podcast very soon.
Yeah. We'll try to think for that, and we'll start make it
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much, Lay. And yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, stay safe. Stay safe always. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you very much for taking the time with me in this podcast. It was a good start for our third season, and I'm pretty sure I would love to. Of course, you can always come back here on our podcast anytime. And of course, I'm pretty looking forward to, of course, to have me in your podcast very soon. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Thank you very much, Lay. And yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, stay safe. Stay safe always. Take care. Bye bye. Okay, so we're already wrapped up our. Hold on. Yeah, we're already wrapped up our. We already hold on. We have it. our first ever episode of YKIP for season 3, and we already done. We just heard Lay Craddock. It was a wonderful time to hear her in this podcast. What a good start of for our third season. So, and because of that, we're gonna have it's time for our Yona Ask. So we already did this before back in season 2, and we're the last time that we actually did was the differences between the red ocean and the blue ocean, and our episode regarding the method, the concept. All right, so we're gonna doing Jonas Ask in a regular basis from now on for season 3 onwards. Okay, so first and foremost, we're gonna answer uh, some of your answers regarding our first ever Jonas Ask. What are the top 5 things you'll miss from the Jodie Whittaker era in Doctor Who? So we already combination between Facebook and Twitter. So let's start with Morgan. Of course, he's one of the shout out to him, and of course I already gonna plug in up his Timeless Dilemma podcast. It's already on YouTube, and yeah, and you don't forget to subscribe to his official YouTube channel. So he says that, of course, number 1, Jodie Whittaker. Number 2, the cinematography. Yeah. Number 3, Jamie Magnuston directing the show. Yep. And the Segun Aquino scores as the composer. Yeah, I'm gonna miss Segun Aquino as the composer. And the TARDIS itself. Next up is, of course, from Owen. Another nice chap. Same thing with number 1, of course, Joyce 13 and Mandip's Yasmin Khan. Number 3, their own skin chemistry is. Then the big twists and turns in series eyes and those, the Fugitive Doctor and the Division. And the plot on Division. Next up is Brittany. Yeah, shout out to her. Number 1, the same. Thasmin, of course. The 1 and 2, Thasmin, of course. Number 3, diversity across the border in front of cameras. Then, of course, Jorma's Fugitive Doctor. And Sasha the One's Master is very reminiscent of the classic Masters with a modern twist. Yes, we all love Sasha's take on the Master. Next up is Mad Apprentice at Mad Apprentice on Twitter. Same thing, yeah. Thasmin. The other companions, of course, we got Graham, Rand, and Ryan, Dan, the monsters, and of course, same way with Morgan, which is the TARDIS Invader. Next up, we got Emily. Yeah, Emily. Shout out to her. Of course, same thing. Joy is a doctor. Number 2, the way Chips tells a bigger story through single stories. Number 3, so queer representation in love stories. So in primary examples, will of course Praxis and Thasmin. Of course, yes, wish we had more. Oh, of course, same. Critic on colonialism could have done better in other progressive areas, but did okay. Yes, I have to agree. And 6 is the honorable mention, which is a cinematography. The same thing with Morgan. Of course, we do forget. Speaking of guests, we got our stalwart guest, which is Nightcat. In case you are new to this podcast, that she was of course one of the also a Whovian, and one of those guests. Her first previous was back in our anniversary, our first anniversary special last year, and the most recent was the differences between the now former Vice President Lenny Robredo and Jody on handling the Negastar Army. So right now, I'm gonna do it. So in no particular order. So yeah, same thing, same with the other respondents. Her and then Joy's doctor, her doctor, and person are the great empresses for the franchise. Of course, number two is yes, same thing. Of course, that's me. It's very obvious. Number three, the Joy Provides of our era. Number four, Sasha's master. In of course, it doesn't go on to Shruti's era, but I really want to see more on. I would want Sasha to come back to face Shruti. I would want to see her and find the gayness of this era. Of course, add the room to for Mandip as a person. She's been a joy in this era. Joy, of course, she's been a joy. Yeah, true. So we got a true Doctor fan, of course, from Twitter. Number one, the 13th Doctor. Number two, Dan. Then number three, Graham. Then the incidental music and the theme music, which is very iconic. Very iconic indeed. What else did I miss? Oh, it's already done. And wait, well, do I forgetting something? I think it's almost done. It's almost done. And finally, our first guest for part 3.0, which is Slay. Number one, Fasman. Number two, Jodie Whittaker. Number three, John Bishop as Dan Lewis. Yeah, of course. We got yes. And number five, the risky storytelling. So if you guys if you want something to miss out, then you can comment us on our official Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube channel and YouTube accounts. You can with the same question. What are the top five things you'll be missed in the Jodie Whittaker era of Doctor Who? So it's gonna be a very too hard to decide. So, well, for me, okay. As for me, the top five things that I'll be missed from Jodie's era in the show. Number one for me, the historic. Of course, it's obvious. The the best girls. Yeah, Thasmin, yeah. No, I think that because of the chemistry. Number two will be the historicals. Why? Because I always want to have as a historical history geek and enthusiast. I always wanted to have more historicals that I've never seen, never taught in school or anything, and it was such a pure joy to have those in between. It's very reminiscent of classic Who. You see the pseudo historicals, and it's a wonderful thing, and the things that I've never ever seen before, like the partition and the witch hunting stuff that been done by King James. I almost forgot about that, the Witchfinders, and yeah, I'm going to make up the anyway, but yeah, and what else? I got number three would be the theme music. It's such an iconic music, and Sega Kino really did his job. He did an amazing rendition of that the iconic theme, and mix it up the classic series theme. It was it was a very iconic indeed. I honestly like the Marigold version, but I also do like Akino's version even further. That's it. And the cinematography. It was such very troubled to see so many things that we've never seen before, in never in the history of the show, and never seen like any other before. That's number 4. Number 5, the returning monsters and the new ones. And of course, the big three, baddies, and we got the Centaurans and the Sea Devils. Because the new ones like the Petin. You got Tim Shaw, Tim Shaw, the Kerblot Man, the Fajarians, the Kasavin, and a lot of stuff here. Of course, Swarm and Azure, of course. What else? Oh my God, there's a lot of. I got the dregs. I can't even remember everything. Goodness gracious. All that stuff in the monsters, and the honorable mention will be it's so hard. And of course, part of that, of course, Sasha's Master. It was so phenomenal as well. And might maybe the honorable mention will be the inclusion, the representation in the show in this era is such a massive thing ever. It was such a cool idea. How I want, and then the timeless children arc, and for me, like I said, for me, it's gonna be a huge expansion to the lore, and as well as the very risky thing, risky stuff that Chips has already done. That because number 1, we get Jodie is the first female doctor, and number 2, we get a multiracial staff, and particularly the Ryers, which is very cool. And of course, he brought back so many things that are already part of the show. From its history. You got some of the classic doctors and companions. Yeah, if you know what I mean. And make of course the Dalek the Cyberman, the Master, very scary once more, and he really understood the assignment. And you get, of course, Thasmin, and as I said, like I said in our past episode, one about them, unintentional from an unintentional fall to a real deal couple. Oh God, their love story really is and their legacy will definitely live on forever. I not gonna lie, their legacy and love story will live on forever. And I'm pretty sure, again, for the new fans, you should better watch that. Well, so I guess so. I actually still processing on the post regen moment ever, but I'm also looking forward to about the Neo RTD era. I would rather call it that. And of course we're besties. Me and RTD are besties, Char. No. Charot aside. Me and RTD are besties. China, yeah, if you know what I mean. And because you really like my comments on Instagram, so yeah, we're besties. Come on, we're already besties. In real life, Sora besties. Okay, I'd say we got Disney Plus. Oh yeah, Disney's kinda suck though, if you know what I mean. You get Disney Plus, but it's perfect timing because we are finally have that here. All right, perfect timing. And what else? So you got there's something to look forward to. I think about David Tennant. Yeah, I do admire. I freaking admire David Tennant as well. You're not gonna lie. He was such a very passionate person. Come on, let David. Let's face it. He's a he's a wonderful person, and I believe that he can actually do it again and again. If you know what I mean. And I'm pretty excited for Shuri Gatwa as well, and I'm sure he's gonna need it, and he has the shoes to fill in, as they say, in a tough act, you know. The quintessential, all of them are all the actors that play the Doctor are very quintessential, and they are very amazing in different ways, and of course we got Neil Patrick Harris is the new Celestial toy maker. Well, spoilers, sweeties, but with a new look and a new outfit, with the same old energy, and wants to take revenge against the Doctor. With the judging for the looks of the props and stuff in during their filming, and we gotta see my other favorite companion, which is Donna Noble. Yeah. Um, I wonder what would be her reaction when she sees the Doctor once more with a new outfit and a same old face but with a new look. And of course, the late great Sir Bernard Cribbins as Wilfred Mott. I got to see Wilf one last time, and I wonder he was so amazing as Wilf, and he was so amazing in one of the Pierre Crochet movies as or as the companion to Pierre Crochet's Doctor, and I'm from judging for what I'm seeing, and he was so amazing as Wilf, and I get a glimpse of Wilf one last time, and I'm pretty sure he will also been missed because I can feel it's gonna be an emotional roller coaster when you get to see him on screen. I'm sure of that, yeah. And as I said, again, I'm going to rehash what I said a couple of minutes ago. Well, to the new fans out there, I know it's gonna be a this is gonna be all of this stuff are new to you. But also, as Captain Jack Harkness said, that enjoy the journey while you're on it, because the joy it's worth the pain. Because the pain of regeneration, you're gonna experience in that when you see, even in the classic series, you get the glimpse on each Doctor and their regeneration. It's gonna be hurt, I swear. It is a nice message from a Doctor fan. No, I've been a Doctor fan for 4 years, and it's such a wonderful journey. It's a big honor to have to be a part of the universe, and I said that I'm going to grab that opportunity, and I would wanna show. I want to show the entire. I want more. Yeah, more of the universe, and more time and spend with the people who are very dedicated this wonderful iconic fandom. I would want to experience it. That I know being experiencing the same thing as Jodie. I would want to do it. I would do the same thing. All of things is new to me, and new can be scary. and but also we can actually um capable of the most incredible change, and every time, and things have changed, and as it should. So these are the advice that I want to give to you guys who are new to this universe. You will get used to it, and you will get experience the pain, the joy, and sadness, and some petty bardas against those nasty, you know, petty bardas everywhere, even every fandom, I guess. Yeah, every fandom, petty bardas everywhere. You have to choose your own battles, guys. Okay. So yeah, that's a wrap for our pilot episode part 3 of YKIP part 3.0. So we're from Doctor Who. We're a flurry up go we flew up some homegrown stuff because next episode on the next of course on the next Your Kuromatoki's interactive podcast we're gonna talking about ahem another unexpected ship. Yeah, so of course we got Thasmin. We already did with Thasmin before, but we're gonna do another unexpected ship. That is, of course, the wonderful. That is the in between Darna and Valentina, who are playing by the amazing Jane De Leon and Janela Saavedra. And how is it important? How are they important? And why is it becoming such an iconic, intense rivalry? And why is it deserved to be, being groundbreaking in an industry where the semi forced shipping or the so-called love team culture have been some sort of a thing for a quite long time. But why is Valentina really important? I know you guys are very excited what it is, but yeah, Sora, what are the flaws? What are the pros? I wonder. And why is it important to me? Of course, you'll find out in the next episode. So, in case you're missing out, in case you're new to this podcast, then again, I suggest then all the episodes of YKIP are already on my Facebook page, and some of the episodes are already posted on my YouTube channel. So please don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Yo Kuromatoki YouTube channel. And I have a big announcement that unfortunately, okay, never mind. I already said that. Yeah, and that's the time that I have. Thank you very much for listening and watching. This is Yona signing out, and I'll see you all on the next Your Kuromatoki's Interactive Podcast. Stay safe, stay kicking, and stay awesome always. Bye bye.